Twixt KO is a fighting game by Riot Games based on League of Legends, and in this video I'm going to share with you how to play Yasuo in the game. Now before I talk about anything else, especially since funny enough there's a little bit of discourse about this, I will generally be using number notation in this video, so if you don't know what that is, we'll have a thing on the screen here that you can take a screenshot of or something to just get the hang of it. The good news is this game doesn't use motion inputs, it uses buttons for everything, so it shouldn't be too complicated. Now the first thing I want to cover is what type of character is Yasuo. So Yasuo is a all-round type with a focus on neutral control. He is very dominant in the neutral game in that he has a good speed, he has good range between special moves and straight up buttons, he can move through the air pretty well, and he has a unique stance, the calm stance, that both help him move around the screen and give him access to unique large attacks. So the first thing I want to talk about is the general neutral game. So this will be when you're not actually attacking somebody or blocking. And for starters, I highly recommend you use a dash button in this game because there are a couple ways you could dash depending on what other games you played or anything like that. You can use forward and back, but to be able to do it pretty quickly can be kind of difficult because you have to return to neutral. So even if the game gives it to you by you slamming back over and over, it's not as fast as it could be. You can also use the light and medium buttons to dash. You can tap them together, but you gotta kind of press them at the same time. So eventually, depending on your controller, you will get a dash button when you don't want to. So having a dash button is really, really good for the game. Then his backdash in particular is pretty good, but the main thing is that multiple backdashes can actually be hit. Unlike a lot of other fighting games, your backdash is vulnerable on hit. So what I recommend is when you're kind of farthish away from somebody, you can slam on backdash to get away from people. But if you're kind of close, I'd recommend doing backdash jump instead. That way, when you backdash and jump, or even better if you can, backdash super jump, once you're in the air, you're basically safe as there are not moves that hit you for blocking in the air. The opponent would have to literally chase you with an air throw. So this is a really good habit to have early. Another thing to know is that super jump has drift. So you have your normal jump that you do by tapping up, and you have a super jump that you do by pressing down and pressing up. And when you press down and press up, you can actually steer your jump. Now this has some applications, mostly for neutral and a couple of mix-ups that he can do, but it's just mainly to connect to when you do this, like that backdash super jump back, and you're holding back, you're actually going to float further back than you would normally. So compare, like, we'll actually put in more backdash jump, and then backdash super jump, and then backdash super jump with drift. Okay. Now your standard number one standard poke is going to be this. This is your standing medium. While his lights are fine, they're not the biggest, especially his standing jab. It doesn't like look as like huge, but this button is big and hits above, and with dash momentum, it is a really, really good button to use. Your jump medium will be your standard air versus air. It pretty much is what it looks like too. It swings horizontally, and if someone is below you, you're going to want to use jump heavy for the most part. Now, if you have an assist available, a really powerful way to start your offense is to jump and do his S1, but you call an assist at the same time. So I have Jinx here, so I'm going to use Rocket, so I do this. And you notice she came on the other side, so you actually want to do it before, like that. When you do it properly, you'll have an advantageous position because you will instantly like surround them, which is a pretty good spot to be in this game. In this game, you have the ability to handshake tag. You could actually do stuff with him and then pull up with your other character. The last thing I want to talk about in neutral is the S1. So this is this stab. If you play him for a while, you're going to notice that while this is good, it's not always going to hit the way you want. When you look at this, like that last standing M looked like it should have connected, right? But it didn't. You're going to find is that when people are backdashing away from you, sometimes your M is not going to work out. So this is where the S1 is really good because it is just monstrously huge. So you don't have to run as absolutely far to chase people with this move. Now, normally I would talk about other stuff with the character first, but I actually want to talk about combos with him because his combos actually help you learn how to play him. And the big thing here is that the combos, outside of like maybe like pulse combos, which is you mash one button and it does combo for you, all his combos require use of the calm stance, which is the down S1. So when you do down S1, he stands like this, and he has many follow-ups, basically a whole different set of moves. Normally with stances, it could be maybe only like a couple buttons that changes some movement, but he has a different light, a different medium, a different heavy, a different crouching heavy, as well as a different dash and backdash that can be chained, as well as a stance hop in his S2. So there's a lot of stuff he can actually do in this stance. So the first combo you're going to want to learn that will unlock Yasuo for you is this combo. It is extremely important that you do his combos deliberately and not mash them out and try to do them quickly. So for this, you go into 6 S1 S2 into held stance 1. So when you get here, he actually just stands. So when you land, you can cancel into the calm stance. And here you do stance M. From here you can super jump and you have plenty of time to do J2H. And after that, you do another held S1. For these held S1s at this stance, I usually hold down the whole time. Just so I can go into the calm stance right away. So you re-enter, and from here, since you're already holding down, you could do stance 2H. Now, I re-enter stance here. You don't actually have to re-enter stance here if you just want to pull the combo off, but it's a great habit to have for other combos that he has. And since you're new to the character, just being familiar with stance move going back into stance, stance move going back into stance, stance move going back into stance will really help you just, again, learn how to play the character. So from here, you actually exit, and I use this exit to time the next move, which is forward held S1. You enter stance again, go into stance M, go into J2H one more time, and you finish the combo. Now, you used to be able to do this everywhere, even in the corner. Now you can't really do it in the corner. I don't really know why. I don't know what they changed. It just feels like you can't do it in the corner anymore where I feel like I used to. So the really good thing here now too is that you can also freestyle a lot of routes, because as long as you're able to get something into this, take for instance an air hit, you can go into the ender that you just learned. Is it the most optimal combo all the time? Probably not. In the heat of a match though, is it something you can route into so that you can get your game plan started? Yes. And you just use this routing in general when you don't know what to do, even outside of random hits. So for example, if you look at his throw combo, once you get to the stance 2H, this specific example is kind of scaled, so you don't do the held stance, you don't do the held 6S1, but it's essentially the same thing that you just learned. So if you explore Yasuo resources, there are a ton of combos for this character. There's a lot of combo freedom in this game, but frankly, I pretty much only use like 3 or 4 combos with the character. They do almost everything I need to do, and they're kind of optimal. But I really encourage you to get that combo I showed you first before you explore these. But I'm going to explain why you can really consolidate your routing with Yasuo right now. Also, for the Yasuo sweats who are watching for fun, I know I'm cutting some of these combos short, but come on man, like some of these are annoying to do. Let's be real, please, let's be real. So I'm going to share a corner combo, a mid-screen combo, a side swap combo, a combo for a situation where you don't really know where you are on the screen. And once you see the other 3, the last one will make a lot more sense. So this is the combo in the corner that you're going to want to work your way up towards. But if you did the one before, you should be ready to kind of learn this. So let's break this down. There's a couple of things about this combo. So for starters, we're going to be going into S1 instead of 6S. And when you go into S1, you go into stance. Now, for this combo, you're going to want to make it a habit to do 3 for entering stance. So calm stance is 2, right? 2 S1. But you want to get into the habit of doing 3 in general. And I'll go over why later. And you go into stance M. Off this stance M, you will do something familiar, which is held S1 in the air. And when you land, you're going to do stance H instead of stance 2H. Mostly because you're in the corner already. You're already used to entering stance because you built the muscle memory from stance 2H. So remember that stance 2H, there will definitely be people who tell you you don't need to cancel the stance 2H into stance, but you have this muscle memory already, so this part should be fine. And you're going to dash forward. You'll notice when you do the stance H here, that Yasuo kind of slumps. The enemy Yasuo slumps before he gets up. You can pick up here with S1. The new thing is the we've been calling it Judgment Cut. I think this is based off a Marvel vs. Capcom move. This little wind orb thing that's on jump S2. So you're going to want to delay that jump S2 very slightly. So that you have time to land and do another 2H. And after this 2H, there's 2 ways you can go. The way I showed originally involves you doing it again. Right? So you do it again, and you land, and you make sure you delay a little bit, and you do a tag launcher. So if you have a tag launcher combo that you've learned, or you've seen around, you do that here so you can complete the combo. If you're playing jigs, for example, you're going to route like this. And the combo is basically over. You could do super, you could do Oki, you could do whatever. That stuff's not part of the scope of this video because it's about another character. If you want to finish a combo of Yasuo, technically you can do the second rep and actually do another 2H and do a third J2H into the general combo ender of S1, S1, S2. The problem is, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. If I try right now, for example, okay, I was going to say I'm going to drop it. I guess the couple of weeks of playing him helped. When I was learning this, I could not do it. I just could not do it. I'm going to be for real. So generally in matches, I would go into S1, S1, S2 here and do whatever assist thing I can do here, just for consistency's sake. But once you learn this corner combo, and especially this part, you just actually learned 2 combos at the same time. Because even though I described this as the corner combo, which it is, he can do it from here. And you notice Yasuo slumps on the wall, which means you have time to get over there and combo. And the main thing is you just stance dash into dash, and you tap S1 and you're doing your corner combo now. So it's 2 combos in 1. Congrats. So the next combo that you can try then, once you get these 2 down, which essentially they're the same combo, the main thing about it is just recognizing that you're generally in range, but essentially once you get them to like here, you pretty much got it. Where if you are like, let's say here, no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to get there in time because he doesn't reach the wall. So then we must talk about the corner combo. And what's funny is it's going to kind of look the same, especially if you've been practicing this and revisiting this video over and over. It's going to look the same except for one important difference. Let's see if you can spot it on your own. Did you notice anything yet? Do you remember back here where I said it's a great habit to do S1 into down forward 3 for entering the stance? This side swap combo is where it's important. So the main thing is, if you don't do it, you're not going to swap sides. Where if you do it, you'll get the tumble that you want. Now, the main thing is you can mess it up because you have to kind of time it. So what you're doing here, and if you want to practice it, is you enter calm stance and you tap 3 so that he dashes forward, and you delay your press. And the farther he steps, the better that you did it. The good news is, with his current routing, this thing is not that important anymore, besides specifically this. And this type of thing can come up in a lot of spots, like, oh, I jumped the throw. Yay. So you can practice this, but outside of that one stepping forward with stance M, you're again doing the same combo. So then the last combo I want to talk about is, what do you do when you're like here? Side swap won't take you to the corner, and going forward also won't take you to the corner. So there's a couple of options. I will show you the harder one, and I'll show you the one that I do in matches like 99% of the time. So one option is to do this style of routing. So what this does is you have to do 2 stance M's. One of them probably, usually not always, but probably should be involving stepping forward by doing 3 S1 so that you get to the right spot. And then the second challenge of the combo is to get your opponent to fall on the jump S2. Like that. That's what it should look like when you do it correctly. When you're doing it wrong, one of 2 things can happen. So this is probably the most common one, is that you get the hit lined up correctly, but they don't fall on it a second time. The other mistake that people make is they get the position right, but they either jump too high or make both hits hit at the same time. But once you're able to get this, held 6S1, stance M, everything else is pretty much the same. And the only really big additional note besides the getting them to fall the air S2 is that your first J2H, you need to delay that held S1 in the air so that you can actually get them to fall on your stance 2H. Once you get that, you got the combo. But also, I'm letting you know, I don't do that. I'm just letting you know it exists. And in case you see someone going for it and you're like, what is that? Why don't people do that? Or why don't I see that much? I just wanted to show you it. What I actually do is this style routing, which is a compromise. So this has pretty much everything we've gone over so far. So you have S1 into stance M, but you don't really have to step forward because you'll go into the held S1 in the air. Into stance M, into J2H, into held S1, stance 2H, stance unstance, held 6S1. By this point, once you get to here, this is something you're doing all the time now. Hopefully that makes sense. By doing this, once you get the hang of his combos, you can really get into the flow of the character. His offense in this game is going to depend on what character you have with him, but essentially there's a couple of ways of going about it. So I'm going to talk about fighting system mechanics. So first we have retreating guard. So the big thing about retreating guard is if you use moves that are fast, you're actually more advantageous. So rather than being +1 on block, you become +10 on retreating guard. So you can actually chase this and do more stuff. You can especially do it with stance. The other way you can fight it is by calling out by doing lows. So your option is 2L. So like dash 2LL or 5L2L will do it. Or you can use his sweep to do it as well, which is on 3. So that's 3 heavy. If you do choose to use heavy, you can combo into stance stomp into basically what you've been doing already. Throw leads to a hard knockdown. So you can chase your opponent, you can set up offensive assist, you can delay a super jump and go low or high. And in the corner, like I showed before, you can combo. Now, one advantage Yasuo has is that if you can get them to block certain assists, you can go into stance hop, and he has a very simple 50-50 in stance hop. You can do jump light into jump too heavy, or jump light into land too well. So this is the basis of basically all the stuff he can do. So for example, with an assist, you can call your assist, go to stance, do this. I have 2x assists, so I could just do it again. Not perfectly executed, but basically just showing you the main thing that you're going for. He also has the ability to go through people in stance by using stance S1. Something like this. And once you sandwich somebody, the game's system mechanics of push block and retreating guard become a lot weaker, because instead of pushing the characters away, you're only pushing one away and the other character is fine. So in this example, he's gonna pull up. I push him off, but I immediately have to deal with echo from behind. There's a lot you can do once you start factoring assists to different fuses, so feel free to have fun and experiment. This is supposed to be a creativity freedom game, so go have fun. Defense is not that unique to him. He doesn't really have a unique reversal. He does have the level 3 on S1 and S2, along with universal mechanics like parry high and parry low. I would say that his unique strength on defense is that he can side swap and get control that way. And now we can actually revisit neutral game one more time, because now that you've grinded combos with him, we can talk about using stance in neutral. So when you stand here, there is actually a bunch of things you can do. You have a fast anti-air, you have a far anti-air in stance 2H, you have a great poke that's retreating as well in stance H, you have stance movement where he actually is smaller when he's doing these, and his backdash in stance actually has him jump off the ground. So even though it looks similar, it's different. So you look at the game in slow motion, this is his backdash normally, and here is his stance backdash. Notice how he kind of like hops first. Where you can hit is the green box. So when you do a stance backdash, you notice he's smaller. When you do a stance dash, again, he's smaller. This is a really, really big advantage. And that's pretty much intro to Yasuo. Just with the combos alone, you will be adjusted to using the calm stance, which is actually the most important thing to be able to play the character. Let me know what you guys think. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it. I stream mostly every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/LordKnight. I also have a Metafy. Right now I'm doing Guilty Gear, but also I will be doing 2x as well. That's metafy.gg/LordKnight if you're looking for any coaching. On Patreon too, I have a Patreon. There's free stuff on there. I'm starting like a tips series that I'm doing on there, because I don't know how to make that stuff into videos yet. But so if you want to see that first, you can go to Patreon. If you sign up for the Patreon, you can see videos early, like random thoughts and stuff. That all goes there. And finally, I have a second channel, LordKnight Chronicles, that by the time this comes out, I should be posting to again. Once again, like and subscribe if you guys feel like it. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.